For this tutorial, you will need your selected yarn. I'm using Paintbox Simply Aran. I'll leave the details in the description box below and a link of where you can get this. I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook, but of course you can use your corresponding hook for whatever yarn you choose to use. You will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to sew in your ends. I will leave a link in the description box below also of the blog post where you can get the written instructions for this pattern. Don't forget to like, comment and share if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all of my latest videos. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to do the mitered traditional granny square today. So you can actually do it like this, where I've actually made a square, or you can just do this as one continuous square as well to make a blanket. So I will give you instructions of how you can do that, but I'm going to be showing you how to make this square today. So I've used 4 colours, but you can use as many as you want. You can play around with this to see how it works out for you. But we're first of all going to start with this very first colour just here. So you want to begin by making a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. Go ahead and insert your crochet hook. Now at this point you can either do a chain 3, which is what I'm going to do here, or you can do a magic circle, so it's totally up to you. So for the chain 3, we're just going to go ahead and do our chains 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to join by doing a slip stitch into the very first chain. So we're going to go ahead and slip stitch. So if you have done a magic circle, you will be at this point now. So to begin, we're going to actually do a traditional granny square. It's going to be slightly different to what I teach in my granny square video, so just keep an eye out for that. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. This counts as a treble crochet. So remember, I'm talking in UK terms. In the US this is known as a double crochet. So that's our first treble crochet. We're then going to do another 2 treble crochets. So that's yarn over, insert into the center circle, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 2 loops on the hook and yarn over, pull through 2. Then going to go ahead and do another treble crochet into that center circle, and then we have 3 stitches that you would see on the traditional granny square. So that cluster of 3 trebles is what makes the general granny square pattern. We're then going to do our corner, and we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then do another cluster of 3 trebles into that very center circle. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, that makes our corner, and then do another 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do our last cluster of 3 trebles. So we have a corner, we've just made a corner here, and we're doing the last edge of our square. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 2 for our final corner, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 from the beginning of this round. So 1, 2 and 3 into the top and slip stitch. So we then have our first round. So here is our square, side, corner, side, corner, side, corner, side, corner. So the difference that we do here compared to my traditional granny square, how I teach it for beginners, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and we're going to turn our work. So we are actually going to turn our work for this square. This is actually really good in general anyway for a traditional granny square, because it can help stop the work from becoming twisted, especially if you're doing a larger one. So what we're going to do here is count this as our first treble, and then do 2 more trebles into that corner space, 1 and 2, And as we do for every corner here and throughout, we're going to chain 2 and do another 3 trebles into that chain 2 space. So 1, 2 and 3. So it's always going to be your corner stitches, and we have our corner space just here. We're then going to chain 1 to move over to the next corner, and we're going to do 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1 to move over to the next corner and repeat. So pause the video, repeat in the next 2 corners, 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles, chain 1 to move over to the next corner, and then meet me back once you are ready. Okay, so I've now just worked my way all the way round, and at this point you want to chain 1 if you haven't done so already to move over to the next corner, which we've already complete. At this point we want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, and then you want to go ahead and chain 1 and snip off your yarn. You can go ahead and pull that out, and at this point I'm going to flip my work over again so that I have the right side facing me, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my second colour. So here I have my second colour. I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot and place that onto my hook. I'm going to take my work, find the corner section, this chain 2, and then I'm going to slip stitch that on to the square. So we're now ready for round 3, and this is the round where we start to create our mitered square. So what we do here is start off by chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, as we always do. That classes as a treble or double if you're in the US. And then we're going to do a further 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2. So now we have an extra space as we're working across. So what we want to do is chain 1 to move across to the next chain space, which is just here. And then we're going to do 3 treble crochets in there, and I'm laying down that tail end so that I can work it in as I crochet along. So we've got 3 treble crochets. We then move over into the next space, which is our corner space. So we chain 1, and then we do exactly the same thing in the corner as we have done before. So 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1 to move into the next chain space, 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, and then this one is going to be slightly different. So we actually want to make this corner look like this corner. So we're just going to do 1 set of 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3. So if I just take my square here, you can see that we're just working across these 2 edges. So this is always going to be the corner section, and then we have the flat side and the flat side. So what we do here is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work. I'm going to add an extra chain on there to class as the chain 1 to move over to the next space. So we have a stitch here and then a chain 1. We'll be using this stitch when we work our border. So we move over into the next space just as we would normally. So 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3. We have an extra space now before we get to the corner. So we chain 1, 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to move over, and now we have our proper corner space. So we're going to do 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to move over to the next space and 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, next space, 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 1 to move over to the last space, and what we're going to do here is 1 treble crochet into the top of the chain 3 from the previous row just here. So yarn over into the top of that chain 3, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So at this point we want to chain 1 and snip off our yarn, pull that out and turn our work. So we're now ready to use our third colour. So go ahead, grab your third colour and meet me back in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to create my slip knot again and take my work, and then we want to insert our hook into the chain space of where we finished off the last round. So I'm going to go ahead and join this with a slip stitch, and then begin by chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to complete that cluster of 3 trebles with 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2. So we're basically going to repeat these rows, the ones that we've just done, rows 3 and 4, over and over again, but each time you add a new layer you will have another gap between getting to the corner space. So you're going to just repeat this general rule. You'll do 3 trebles, chain 1 and 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, and chain 1. So go ahead, work your way to the corner, and I'll remind you what to do in the corner again. So now you're at your corner, you're going to do your 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, and then chain 1 to move over onto the next space. So go ahead, pause the video, repeat those 3 trebles, chain 1 right until you get to your second to last space. So complete this second to last space, and then meet me back once you're ready. Once you have 1 space remaining, we're going to do 3 treble crochets in there, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to move on to our next round. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're going to chain 1 more to move over to the next space, and then do our 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, followed by a chain 1 all the way up to the corner space. So pause the video, work that into your next spaces, and then meet me back once you're at your corner space. At your corner space, you're going to do 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 to move over to the next space, and then repeat that 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles, chain 1 until you get to your last space, and then meet me back once you're ready. Once you've done your last 3 trebles, chain 1, we're going to go ahead and treble crochet into the top of the chain 3 from the previous round. So yarn over into the top of that chain 3 and complete your treble crochet, chain 1 and snip off your yarn. Okay, so now you have the choice of whether you want to continue with those rounds. So the instructions when you rewind should be pretty easy to follow if you need to. So go ahead and do that if you wanted to build this more and more. You could either repeat the colours or add even more colours, it's totally up to you. But I'm going to show you how you would add the border to this now. So I'm going to go ahead and sew in these ends and then I'll meet you back and show you how to add the border. Okay, so I have my white yarn and I have it on a slip knot on my hook. So what I'm going to do here is have the right side facing me and then go into this first corner just here. And then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That classes as our first treble. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 more trebles into that corner space. As always, we're going to chain 1 and then move over to the next space and do our 3 trebles, chain 1, all the way to the corner space. So go ahead and work up to the corner and then meet me back for this corner space just here. Now we're at the corner space, we're going to do exactly the same as we have been doing. So 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and then repeat the same to the other side. So 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles all the way to this corner space. Pause the video and then meet me back once you get to the corner space. Okay, so the pattern that we've done so far, at this point we have only done a set of 3 trebles, but we're going to complete a full corner here. So we'll do 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then do 3 trebles into that same corner space, 1, 2 and 3. We're going to chain 1 and move over to our next space, and this time it will look slightly different. So our next space is this space just here, which is where we did our chain 4 essentially, and that's what's going to class as our corner spaces along this edge. So we'll do 3 trebles into there, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and continue all the way until you get to the next corner. So pause the video and then meet me back in just a moment. Now we're in the corner, we're going to do the same as always, 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2 and 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and work your way along the edge. So pause the video, work your way till you get to the next corner and I'll show you how to finish off your square. So here we have my last 3 trebles and then this is the corner space. So in this corner space we already have our cluster of 3 trebles. So we're just going to do 3 more. 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 from this round and then tie off. So there you have your mitered traditional granny square, and then you can actually do this do these in a join as you go method if you like. I'll leave a link in the description box and in the blog post of the join as you go method. You just have to be conscious of which corners you're joining so that you're getting the pattern that you want. Obviously you could have your pattern like this if you wanted to, or even like this, so all 4 together. It's totally up to you. But I really hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, I've left everything in the description box below, and there's a blog post with all of the details you could possibly need. Don't forget, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up, share with your friends and leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all of my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again next time. Bye!